All right, what's up? What's happening? I'm back with another one. Welcome to Consultant Freeman Services, the BON show. I'm playing with the name. I'll be honest. I'm playing with the name, just trying to get a groove for this and whatnot. But today we will be looking at something I think is very interesting, something to pay attention to. The whole point of Consultant Freeman Services is just for you to get a glimpse at what it takes to take in information and be able to apply the information you take in and use it in real time in the real world, how you should be digesting it, the questions you should be forming. I will be your framework, your blueprint in a sort. And after a while, you've been watching these videos, you'll be able to do this for yourself in no time. Mental ideologies, attitudes, that's more contagious than physical behavior. So, without further ado, we're going to get into this and we are going to check this out. Now, mind you, I am watching this in live time with you, so I'll be breaking it down, my understanding of it, and then we'll be going from there together. All right. Uh-huh. Hold on. Oh, wait. Hold on.
All right, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me
you don't want these
$197
advertisements
for
playing.
car insurance. No, thank you.
Bear with me.
One Wall Street firm.
Hold on, let me get this camera working for y'all, just so y'all can see me. Oh, there we go. Now we're rocking. All right. Bear with me. I'm learning all this stuff on the fly. I'm getting it down to mental memory, but here we go. PayPal co-founder teases great alternative to credit cards. Is it a great idea or is it wishful thinking? Let's see what they say.
Firm has decided on its favorite fintech, William Blair, initiating coverage on a firm with an outperform rating, saying it believes alternatives to traditional finance will be popular among younger consumers. Analysts saying there that a firm is a trailblazer in the space because it provides easy to understand finance products, flexible payment options, transparent pricing, no late fees, and clear disclosures.
All right, hold on. That sounds real good. That was a lot to take in. They throw a lot of information at you. Let's take this back and let's break this down bit by bit. I have time tonight.
Saying it believes alternative.
Let's go all the way
One Wall
back.
Street firm has decided on its favorite fintech, William Blair, initiating coverage on a firm with an outperform rating, saying it believes alternatives to traditional finance will be popular among younger consumers. Analysts saying there that a firm is a trailblazer in the space because it provides easy to understand finance products, flexible payment options, transparent pricing, no late fees, and clear disclosures. Wells Fargo also boosting its price target on the stock today from $55 to $70. The stock right now is down just barely here, but it is up about 5% over just the past 2 days, and week to date, it's up 6%. The pair of upgrades, ignoring the new report from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB conducted a study which found consumers with poor credit scores do make up a majority of buy now, pay later borrowers.
So what it sounds like is that they're not getting rid of credit cards. They're just it's another derivative of a derivative of the actual product, or a derivative from the actual product. So you got to remember, America was based off of, prior to colonization, hand-to-hand good trade. So what does that mean? Bartering system. I have shells, you have food, you have a wool coat, I have a bear coat, I have bear skin, whatever the case may be. If I deemed it necessary, I have something you think is of equal value, we both say this is a fair trade, we trade. Boom, boom, boom. As the colonies started going, the economy started shifting. That was also the lifestyle, but then the colonists and then the natives started trading in raw minerals because we also understood that weapons were able to be created and other technologies of sorts. So then everything was based off of gold, just to fast forward throughout time. After about 1934, everything really got off the gold standard. They say the 70s, but the 70s is when everything was officially done. That was, I think up until the 70s, you were able to purchase gold within your banks. There was a lot of nuances into it. Listen, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. I'm not above reproach, but this is from my research. However, from 1934 was when everything was officially taken off the gold standard, and then in the 70s everything went fiat currency. Uh, so the original would have been the gold. The first derivative is the paper dollar. All right. Now, don't get me wrong. We've had paper money representations. However, that derivative was still in accordance with uh, with the gold backing. The next derivative of that would be like your debit and your credit. And then the further derivative of that is your buy now, pay later, affirm what they're talking about. It's still another form of loaning, loan sharking throughout history. Loaning has always been looked down upon, which is why we see so many people having at odds with certain religious groups and practices throughout the world, because throughout history certain countries have affiliated themselves with certain groups of people that have practiced these things of loaning and interest rates, and it destroyed countries time and time and time and time and time again throughout the last millennia. And remember, a millennia, I believe, is either 1,000 or 2,000 years in that ballpark, which is still a long time. To even get through 100 years is a long time. So up until this day, the proof has been in the pudding that loans and interest rates destroys economies over the long term, and America is in that ballpark. America is 248 years old. At the 250 mark is usually where we see empires fall. They say Rome didn't fall in a day, but you got to remember 1,000 years down here is a day up in the esoteric, metaphorical realms. But on average, an empire falls in 250 years. America is often considered the modern day Rome. So now we're seeing more deferment. So you look at other things, showing signs, even down to the clothes that people wear is another sign of a collapse within the economy, within a social structure and things of that nature. But let's get back into this. Let's see what else they got to say. It sounds, you know, it basically just sounds like another branching away from the actual trunk body of what we need to actually keep things afloat.
Well, what does that really mean? Affirm co-founder and CEO Max Levchin joins me now in a Fox Business exclusive. Max, let's start off with the Valentine's Wall Street is bestowing on you. I mean, this is certainly welcome, I'm sure. What would you say is the number one thing that probably grabbed their attention to get you those upgrades?
It's very nice of them to notice. Happy New Year. I think, it's been a well-kept secret for about a decade now that young people dislike, maybe even strongly dislike, things like hidden fees and compounding interest and all sorts of other shenanigans that financial services industry has made a lot of its profits over the last many decades. Affirm is a great alternative. We don't charge late fees, we don't compound interest, we don't do deferred interest and all these terrible things that people love to hate. We are a simple, easy-to-use, great alternative to credit cards, and it's been growing really well for the last many years, and I'm glad others are noticing.
Well, I wouldn't, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say that it's in a nascent stage of the industry, but buy now, pay later has been well entrenched, and yet you look at what happened this past holiday season, and you had Adobe, which puts all this together in its analytics division, said that buy now, pay later from November 1st to December 31st saw record holiday sales, $18.2 billion. I'm interested to know the demographic of your number one buyer.
It certainly skews young. The generation that we serve, it's more than one at this point, but millennials certainly anchored the core Affirm user base. These are the kids that witnessed 2008. They have a vivid memory of housing being sold short and credit card debts driving people to bankruptcy, and they wanted an alternative, and that's when we came along and said, here we are. We were founded just a couple of years after the great financial crisis, specifically to deliver honest financial products in our mission. And that was the anchor tenants that we've grown really, really well with them, and now that their successors, Gen Z, is right here with us, coming of age, getting their own financial reality in order, we are serving them too, and that's the faster growing group now, and we expect to continue growing well with
Okay, I just looked it up. It's nothing more than a new age. I'll show you. I think I deleted it, but oh nope, I kept it. Yeah, it's nothing more than a new wage loan program. Um, don't get me wrong. I guess it has a much long-term deferment, but I'm not really seeing where it's different than oh, hold on, let me I want to that's what it is. All right. Let me throw in this link so you can see it for yourself. I know it's covering my screen, but that is all right. So, let me, no, alright, let me put this on another window then. Yeah, let me do it for you like this. Since there's so much going on, it's a good thing to stay prepared. Well, awesome, 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 awesome. Alright, so what does this say? No, 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 it's not the one I want. Ugh, trying to get this figured out. Please bear with me, folks. Hmm. Okay, here we go. I'm here. I'm here. All right, so scroll down a little bit. My oh my, not what I want. Oof, how embarrassing. Let me get this right again. Oh, still not doing it. Ugh, how embarrassing, folks. All right, let's try this again. Uh-huh. Nope, still doing it. All right, how do I? It won't let me back out. This is so embarrassing. Ugh, my oh my. We're gonna get this right though. I have time today. Hmm. No, I don't like that. Alright, let me see something. Cause I just want to give you the Google page itself. So how about I do it like this? Get rid of that. I'm gonna add in another one. Yep. Alright, I think this is gonna work out now. Hold on. Let's see. Alright, I think this is now gonna work out. Alright, so now do it like that. Boom. Alright, now we're getting there. This is where I want to be. Well, still not rocking out though. This is very, very embarrassing. Oh, who would have thought? Well, try to do it for you. It's not going how I thought it would. For some reason, it just, Google won't do what it's supposed to do. Alright, let me do it like this. Huh. Let me figure, okay. Uh-huh. See, I knew I was gonna figure it out. Mm-hmm. What can I say? You're him, you do what you gotta do. Alright, so, what are the downsides of a firm? Does a firm hit your credit? No, it does not affect your credit score, will not show. However, when you do make a purchase, your credit score could be affected if a firm does a hard credit inquiry. So it's going to play onto your credit at some point. Downside, free payment interest-free payment options. Some of his long-term payment plans come with interest charge that could be as high as 36%. Right? It's still, even though they say it's not a loan situation, they still do it. Yep, that's regular. We expect that. Highest limit. Alright, so you're still technically playing with money that you don't have. And that's just no bueno. That is muy no bueno. You don't want to get in that habit. I don't think it's a good thing at all. Yeah, we don't need to see the advertisement. It's when you're buying stuff and you don't have the money for it, you're working with a loan. That's technically what it is. That's what it's going to be. That's how it's going to function. Don't know what else to tell you, but it sounds good. I think this is a great thing when you're in a bind, and you need to help yourself get into a better position if you can afford it. However, this is not something you want to play with at all. So, with that said, let us get back into the video.
So folks that are just starting out their financial lives.
How will the interest rate picture going forward affect them if the Federal Reserve decides that the economy is stable enough that it doesn't need future rate cuts, or at least as many interest rate cuts as people had hoped? That means that rates are higher and we might see a pause. That's what the odds are for the Fed funds futures coming up in this January meeting. How do you anticipate or model for what might happen to their buy now, pay later, I suppose, the spending that they do?
That's a great question.
You don't have a crystal ball, so seeing the future is always tricky.
That was a great question. Let's run that back and let's listen to what she just asked.
Interest rate cuts as people had hoped. That means that rates are higher and we might see a pause. That's what the odds are for the Fed funds futures coming up in this January meeting. How do you anticipate or model for what might happen to their buy now, pay later, I suppose, the spending that they do?
So I do not have a crystal ball, so seeing the future is always tricky, but we have performed through the lens of both growth and credit performance and consumer demand really well during the elevated rate period. Let's not forget we're down from peak rates very recently. A firm performed really well financially. Just look at our last couple of quarters in the 5% territory. Folks need more access to credit. They really need honest financial products, honest access to credit, something that they can actually understand while they're using it. and we anticipate being there to serve them in the periods of high rates and low rates.
Right, we're at 4.25 to 4.5%, so you're doing just as well.
And look, here's my thing, and this is one thing that I just don't get, I don't understand. We sit here and say people need more credit. Collectively, we have done poor with credit, so why would we need more? We can't even clear our own debt naturally. We're still trying to tax people through the roof and say, here's more credit. We're treating ourselves like we're the biggest slaves in the world. Our politicians are treating us like we're the biggest slaves in the world. We do all this work, and then they send the money to other countries. I just to have it embezzled, it just don't make any sense to me. It don't make any sense to me. You know, I would have liked to go through this whole video, but it's generally not worth it. To me, it just seems like wishful thinking. You're just creating another avenue. It's like creating a new bank and say, hey, try our credit card. That's all. It's all it basically is. Buy now, pay later, and then we know for a fact that the average person is not going to be proactive in clearing their credit, paying these things off, or they'll do the minimum payment. So at some point, it's going to occur in a form of interest because these companies are going to need to meet their margins. They're going to have to be able to pay their people, unless they're maneuvering like an actual bank. And they say, hey, we have this money. Let's invest this money in the foreign exchange market so we can keep making money, even though these people aren't paying us our money back. So now you're just making money and giving out money and not getting money back, and it's still driving up the national debt. No matter how this sandwich is flipped, it doesn't sound good at all. From somebody that sits here and says, all right, the last thing I want to do is be in debt just so I can make money. Why would I put myself in a position where I'm teetering on the line of possibly going in debt for money? Get you a job, keep applying, do what you got to do. Make you a little product, go outside, even if you assess the product you made, labor, all that to be $10, stand somewhere and pitch it as best you can and get that $10 worth it. Get that $10 worth of a product of what you made by your own hand. Most people don't value the money they have. That's why these options seem so much better than what they had before. But I kid you not, this is long term. Again, if this is something that gets you out of a bind, so be it. But if you're just approved, and they're not going to tell you no, especially if everything looks good, you don't need it, and you're just spending money irresponsibly, it's only going to drive up the debt more, and then taxpayers got to pay more money on that. That's the whole reason why I left Connecticut. The debt is so bad. I'm sitting here breaking my back. I'm considered an essential worker. I'm doing all these hours of overtime, and I could barely stock in my own savings. I already live a minimalistic lifestyle. I eat as clean as I can, and that at a minimal price tag as much as I can. I already don't go clubbing. All my vices did away with that, and I still could barely save. Overall, sounds like wishful thinking if this is not something that's getting you out of a bind. If it's a sure way to get, and how do you know this is a sure way to get you out of a bind, right? If you have a job and you have $5,000 saved and they approve you for $5,000 and you got to clear, hypothetically, you have $5,000 worth of living expenses, which is still a lot. Even if you do it at $2,500, you need to have $10,000 saved up. If they approve you for 5, you should have 10. Now, rule of thumb, you should have 3 to 1, right? If they approve you for 2,000, you should have 6,000 saved up. Why? You want to be able to pay that off, right? Once you use that money, you want to be able to pay that off, and you still want to have money in your savings for emergencies, and you still need to have 2,000 to pay your next future bills. You want to be ahead of the game. You don't want to be at the game. You don't want to be in the middle of the pack, and you certainly don't want to be behind the pack. You want to be chilling nice and comfortable in front of the pack. I'm telling you because this is how I did it. Even during COVID, living on my own, in Connecticut, highest tax rates, making minimum wage, and I still found a way to save to buy myself September, October, November, December, January, February. 6 months of living. I had 6 months of savings. And then this is prior to me dipping into my credit. You know, so, and I'm already looking for jobs. I'm already looking for apprenticeships. This is the mindset you got to be in if you want to save your money, get out of debt. If you already have debt, the last thing you should be looking to do is get into more debt. Once you pick up debt, you want to clear that first batch. You don't want to have two head honchos coming at you, asking you to pay up at the same time, and you only got enough to pay half of one. Yeah, that's a bad spot to be in. So overall, that's my assessment. I hope this was very informative for you. I hope this was great. I had the time today. I'm glad that I actually did this. It feels good. Tune in with me on Instagram, YouTube only, but I'm on Instagram at the.o.n.experience. That's where you get a glimpse into my personal life. I will be on YouTube doing more of these videos. I'm still having the vlog popping. This is my consultant Freeman Services, take on things. You might see more video edits. I'm definitely planning on getting better equipment just for visual and audio. But yeah, this was fun. I'm glad I did this. Ciao.